Chapter 5. Jupiter System. Nova Concordia mercenary cruiser Lone Star. Dr. Lana Skye came to consciousness with the slow, glacial certainty of someone resurrected from deep time. Her breath fogged the inside of the cryomold's glass, a narrow coffin of frost-rimed steel and humming diagnostics. She felt like a relic sealed in some indifferent tomb, buried in the gut of a mercenary ship whose name she did not know. Rows of cryopods, most empty, some still whispering faint diagnostic tones, lined the far wall like sarcophagi, abandoned mid-ritual. Across from them, a row of weapons storage compartments stood in silence, their reinforced glass. The cargo deck, cavernous and dimly lit, thrummed with the residual heat of forgotten engines and decisions made long ago. A broad hatch yawned open at the end of the corridor, admitting two figures that floated towards her cryopod with the ease of seasoned astronauts.
The long sleep's over, Dr. Skye. We've made it. Someone is waiting for you.
Lana, her mind racing with questions and fear, demanded.
Where are you taking me? I deserve answers.
The second mercenary chimed in, his tone terse.
All answers will come in due time. Just cooperate, and no harm will come to you.
They guided her through the corridors of the ship. They had crossed vast distances to arrive at the Jupiter system, nearing the enigmatic moon, Amalthea. Lana recognized the elongated, reddish form of Amalthea as they approached. The moon, shrouded in mystery, hung in the void like a sentinel of secrets. The mercenary command ship drifted toward the jagged landscape below, the sight of it unsettling. A massive, deep crack split the surface, a scar that reminded anyone who'd been to Mars of Valles Marineris, but this was on a smaller, meaner scale. As the ship descended into the fissure, the walls of rock closed in, casting long shadows over the hull. No light reached down here, just the cold dark and the quiet hum of the engines. They pushed deeper, navigating the twisted canyon until the station came into view, a hidden outpost buried in the crack. The ship slid into its docking port like it had been here 100 times before.
It used to be a mining outpost.
A mercenary explained, his voice echoing inside the helmet of Lana's suit.
Now it's mostly a research station.
Their ship slid into a concealed hangar buried half a kilometer beneath the fractured surface of the fissure, hidden from orbit and from history. As Lana disembarked, she was greeted by three more figures, their presence ominous against the backdrop of the outpost's stark walls. 5 armored men, rifles slung with casual menace, escorted Lana down the echoing length of the docking pier, lit by flickering blue strips. Beyond the reinforced blast doors, the mining outpost swallowed them whole. They passed through a series of cold, sweat-slicked tunnels, the air thick with machine oil and forgotten voices, until at last the silence broke. Voices, clanging metal, the low mechanical hum of labor, the heart of the station, alive and beating. Dr. Lana found herself thrust into a situation she hadn't anticipated, surrounded by the stark confines of a lunar outpost buzzing with activity. Lana stepped into the outpost, her guards flanking her, eyes scanning the scene. The place was alive with scientists hunched over terminals, mercenaries with guns slung across their chests, and engineers barking orders as they wrestled with machinery. The air was thick with the hum of activity, the kind that made her instinctively sharpen her focus. In the middle of it all stood Logan Severance, the man that overtook a massive chunk of Ashcroft Corporation's holdings in the Jupiter system, turning that legacy into almost a personal empire. He was talking to someone when his eyes caught hers, a slow smirk creeping onto his face like he knew she'd be here eventually. Lana stopped, locking eyes with him. Whatever game he was playing, she was already in it.
Dr. Lana Skye.
Logan paused, his gaze steady.
Let me introduce myself.
No need, Mr. Severance. I know who you are. What is the meaning of all of this?
I understand this is all rather unexpected for you.
Logan began, his tone measured.
As things stand, you're the only one with the skill set precise enough to grasp the problem and perhaps solve it. No one else comes close, Doctor. We've encountered an obstacle in our research, a challenge that requires a unique approach.
Lana, her demeanor cautious and defiant, shot back.
What makes you think you can just kidnap people like this, without any consequences?
You mistake morality for leverage. History isn't written by the righteous, Dr. Sky. It's written by those who understood that outcomes matter more than outrage.
And what if I never solve that mystery?
Then we both fail. But between the two of us, you're the one with more to lose.
And what makes you think I'll cooperate after all of this?
It's simple. The sooner you solve a problem we encountered, the sooner we let you go home. Besides, as a scientist yourself, curiosity should be driving you to explore.
As they traversed deeper into the facility, Logan outlined the origins of their predicament.
Originally, it was just a mining outpost. Ice, silicates, trace elements. Nothing unusual for a Jovian moon. Then our scanners picked up something anomalous, a pattern of subcrustal voids that resembled tunnel networks. We assumed natural geology or the remnants of some earlier excavation attempt. That assumption didn't last long. Drones were deployed. What they returned was far stranger. The tunnels weren't carved into Amalthea. They weren't part of it at all. They occupied a self-contained space, a 3-kilometer-wide spherical structure suspended within the moon's crust. Not anchored, not embedded, suspended, floating. We don't understand how. The gravitational signature is wrong. The internal corridors exhibit localized gravitational fields aligned with the geometry of the structure itself rather than the moon. What we thought were tunnels are components of the sphere, a system unto itself, entirely artificial, entirely alien. Regrettably, our corner of the solar system lacks specialists in archaeology, philology, or linguistic forensics. We are, as ever, unprepared for the past. There's something you need to see.
He said, voice low and measured.
Walk with me.
Logan gave a subtle signal, barely more than a flick of his fingers, and the mercenaries fell in step. Lana followed, her boots silent against the frostbitten floor as the group moved toward the tunnel's dark mouth. The group finally stepped into a vast underground cavern. Towering in the center, like some ancient, forgotten monument, stood a trapezoidal pyramid. The structure gleamed under their lights, every inch smooth, cold metal. No markings, no wear, just a single entrance, yawning open as if it had been waiting for them. They moved inside. The lights flickered to life automatically, casting long, jittering shadows as they passed through a maze of smaller rooms, sterile, metallic, and unsettlingly silent. But none of those spaces mattered, not compared to what they found at the heart of it. A circular chamber stretched wide, pillars vanishing into the darkness above. Machinery of alien design filled the space, every surface alive with humming glyphs and strange, unearthly interfaces, scattered like cryptic constellations. In the center, a cylindrical podium stood cold and unyielding. Above it, a colossal metallic arm loomed like a sentinel, its shadow swallowing the space beneath, waiting. Near the base of the smooth, circular metallic podium, a lone skeleton lay curled in the dust, bleached white by time, disturbingly intact and exposed. No suit, no helmet, no tools, no weapons, just bones and silence. Lana stepped closer, her voice hushed, as if speaking too loudly might disturb the dead.
Is that a human skeleton? Out here?
Logan didn't answer immediately. He stood still, eyes locked on the remains like they might reassemble and speak.
We dated it. 500 years, give or take. And here's what keeps me up at night. It wasn't placed there. We found it exactly like that. No gear, no indication of how or why, just the body.
Lana scanned the room, taking in the complexity and mystery that lay before her.
But I haven't decrypted the alien writings on Ceres.
She pointed out, her skepticism apparent.
It doesn't matter now. Our intel indicates they are of the same origin as the ones Ashcroft Corporation discovered on Ceres.
Logan replied calmly, his confidence unwavering.
For us, this is more important than anything.
With a final nod, Logan signaled the guards to maintain their vigil throughout the structure.
If you need anything, Dr. Sky, I'll be back at the base. I'm leaving you 2 personal guards. Not that I figure you'll have much use for them. Still, better they're close, just in case the shadows decide to move.
Alone with her thoughts and the alien writings, Lana began the daunting task ahead, knowing that the answer she sought, and perhaps the key to her freedom, lay within these enigmatic symbols. Outskirts of asteroid Vesta. Base. Edge of inner solar system. Alice's ship drifted through the asteroid field, the cold silence of space wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. Patrol duty in this dead zone, not far from the Vesta base, had long lost its appeal. When she signed the contract, Alice thought piloting for the military would mean adventure, maybe even a little danger. What she didn't expect was the crushing boredom. 230 million kilometers from Mars, home. Vesta was just another lifeless rock in the vast black. Patrols were the only time Alice felt even remotely alive, when she could push her ship through the asteroid belt and pretend she was doing something important. But even that had become routine. Tomorrow, she'd be off this forsaken station, heading to Ceres and Mars for resupply, her last patrol. Then, a transmission crackled through the comms, snapping her out of her reverie.
Alice, missed me?
Miranda's voice had that familiar, teasing lilt. Alice smiled despite herself.
Hell yes, I did. How's your cat?
Perfect. As ever. Anything interesting on your end?
Alice glanced out at the endless sea of rocks.
Same old. Cold, empty space. Just me and a bunch of floating rocks.
You sound thrilled. Up for a little excitement before you go?
Alice's fingers tightened around the controls.
What's the game?
You know that moonstone bracelet of mine? Beat me to that mushroom-shaped asteroid and it's yours.
And if I lose?
Alice asked, knowing full well Miranda always had something in mind.
You get a lily tattooed on your back.
Hell no. I'm not losing this one.
Miranda's ship appeared in the distance, coming up fast.
See that big mushroom-shaped rock? First one to the top wins. On your mark.
Alice's pulse quickened as she gripped the controls tighter.
3, 2, 1, go!
Both ships blasted forward, engines roaring as they wove through the asteroid field, their blue ion trails cutting across the dark. Rocks flew past in a blur, their hulls occasionally bumping as they pushed each other for the lead. The mushroom-shaped asteroid loomed ahead, and they were closing fast. Alice dove low, angling her fighter beneath the mushroom's cap, intending to shoot up the side. 50 kilometers to go when something flickered in her peripheral vision. There, at the edge of the asteroid's top, a dark triangle, small, maybe 60 meters in length, a shape that shouldn't be there. Alice's heart skipped a beat. She glanced at her radar. Nothing. When she looked back, the ship was gone, like it had never been there.
Done! Looks like someone's getting a tattoo tonight.
Miranda's voice crackled over the comms, full of triumph. Alice barely heard her.
Did you see that?
See what?
The triangle. It was there. I saw it.
Miranda's laughter came through the comm.
The Ghost Scout? Local legend, Alice. Not this time, hun.
Alice shook her head, trying to focus.
It was real. I know it.
Well,
Miranda continued, her tone shifting just slightly.
there's a story, you know. Some of the other pilots say once a month or so, someone catches a glimpse of a dark triangular ship, usually around 50,000 kilometers from Vesta. Could be Nova Concordia, could be something else. No one's ever caught it on camera, though, and radar never picks it up. Just stories.
Not just a story.
Alice muttered, still scanning the horizon. But the empty stars and asteroids looked back at her, cold and indifferent. Alice barely heard her. Alice and Miranda coasted back toward Vesta after their patrol, the vast blackness of space giving way to the familiar silhouette of the colony ahead. As Alice guided her fighter into the landing pattern, she could see the bustle of activity around the docking bay. A line of shuttles offloaded and loaded cargo containers, shuttling them between the hangar and a massive freighter docked nearby. The ship's name, Zeus, stood out in bold letters on the hull, its immense size dwarfing everything around it. Alice angled her ship, spiraling down around the towering space elevator that connected the orbiting port to the surface of Vesta. The elevator's 3 massive tubes stretched down to the colony below, a lifeline between the asteroid's barren surface and the sky above. The descent brought Alice past the glassy domes of the biodomes, the colony's only patch of life in an ocean of dust and rock. Finally, with a soft thud, her fighter touched down on the landing platform.